I am a fool. That is one thing for certain.
Hi, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hi, guys. So, this week was an interesting week, always going with the flow, doing what you're asked to do. There's always use discernment, because obviously if somebody's asking you to do something and you don't feel like you're getting any kind of fair exchange, then you need to create boundaries for that. Make sure that you're, you know, see your own self-worth in what you're doing. And if you're providing value for somebody, make sure that they appreciate that value, right? That's a really important thing, to see your own value. If you don't see your own value, then a lot of times what I've seen is people will, and this was me in the past, right? Is it, well, I not didn't necessarily point the blame at anybody else, but just having low self-worth will make it so that you're overextending yourself all the time in ways that uh, you're not getting anything out of it, right? People take advantage of it. It's easy for people to take advantage of an empath because if you're super empathic, you can feel people's needs, but when you're not getting anything in return, then you're just sapping your energy. You're not, building yourself up. So without that equal exchange, then you really have to evaluate why you're doing it. And usually it has to do with you're trying to people please, and it's stemming from low self-value. You don't see yourself as having the kind of value that you really do have. And so everyone has value, you know. Uh, so for one thing, don't ever blame anybody. So today I kind of wanted to talk about love versus fear, right? We have to give in order to receive. And so um, you're constantly listening. We should be listening to our environment to see what it needs and how we can supply what is special about us to our external environment, and get that in reception, if that makes sense. I But your perception, like I was talking about in one of my last videos, your perception of reality is everything. Because if you see the world around you as being against you, then you'll constantly be conflicted, and so you won't feel like you're a part of it. Or two things can happen. If somebody's being aggressive with you, you can see that as an opportunity to help somebody. Or if it's triggering you, then it's usually triggering an underlying issue of something that you need to work on. You Because if you're afraid of your external environment, then it will attack you. It's just like walking down a trail when you're walking through the mountains. If you come upon an animal that any kind of predatory animal, if you show fear or feel fear, animals can sense fear, right? Your pheromones, just the act of you being afraid, will release a chemical that animal will smell. And then not only that, but on a in a biofield, you're exhibiting a field of energy. So if that field of energy around you is fear-based in any way, then you feel like your outside world can attack you. And so it actually alerts predatory animals that you're there, and then they will, attack you, right? But if you're always in love and acceptance of everything around you and just accept it for the way it is, then there's nothing that alerts anything to attack you, right? So on the flip side of that, when you're standing in unconditional love of people who are in fear and in conflict with their environment, you'll trigger, right? So a lot of times they won't know what to do. And if they do attack you, as long as you remain calm and in a place of peace, all that energy that they're throwing at you will just get reverberated back on them. Because you love, fear creates a boundary, right? Because you feel like you need to protect yourself. So you're creating this boundary around yourself. And so if you're afraid to say something to somebody, or if you're afraid to be a certain way that's more authentic to you, if you want to be more authentic, and you're creating a boundary because you're afraid of how somebody might interpret who you are or what you are like, then you're not going to be authentic, right? You're going to, and that person is going to sense that. They're going to sense, oh, this isn't authentic of them, you know. It just disinterests people because you're not connecting on a deeper level, right? But that will trigger people in your immediate vicinity. I've always been kind of like open and naked, and I find that I trigger people accidentally, not on purpose. It just happens because I will tell people things that they probably be like, man, he told me a little bit too much. If that makes sense. So live in love, and you'll elevate the consciousness of the people around you. Not only that, but when you keep doing that and keep serving the people around you and getting equal exchange in return, you'll realize just fall in the natural flow of life and the natural abundance of life. And it might not even look like you're rich to somebody else, but everything is just moving the way it should, and sometimes, especially setting boundaries, setting the correct boundaries with somebody is showing them that you love them, right? If you're feeding someone's trauma, that just to make them happy, then you're not really loving them, right? You're not forcing them to grow. They don't have to grow if you're just going to do what they ask you to do every time they ask you, without saying, hey, look, but let's help each other, right? So I'm going to leave that with you guys today. It's a big topic, and overcoming fear in your life, it gets rid of all anxiety. It puts you in a state of mindfulness, because you're always concentrating on the moment. You're never falling outside of what you need to do tomorrow or the next day. Everything just becomes an easy mindfulness state where you're always operating out of what you need to do instead of what you're afraid might happen, or afraid of some conversation you might have with somebody, if that makes sense. So learning who you are and what you have to offer is really important, and you'll never really know what that is until you create the right boundaries and give yourself the self-worth that you are worthy of, right? Everyone's worthy of that. And all those traumas that went through your lineage, and all of us grew up with some kind of traumas that our parents passed down to us. Those were just external realities that were illusions, right? Reality is that you're just this point of awareness, and that if you make sure you're getting in a meditative state as much as possible during the day, it's good to create a meditative practice, but if you're always in that meditative state where you can control your thinking and realize, am I believing an illusion, or am I believing the truth? And the truth is that we can create whatever we want to create, but the illusion will always pull you out of that. So have a wonderful weekend. Stay off social media for Memorial Day weekend. I'm not going to get on there, and when I look back, if anybody's posted anything on Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to get after you. If you're watching this video and you know me, because we should be spending time with each other and getting off all the blah. Spend some time with your family, and if you don't have anybody really close to you, just go try and meet somebody. Get out of your comfort zone. If you're not comfortable with meeting new people, do it anyway. Just do it and see what happens, and then you'll get a return on how you're interacting with that person. You'll learn more about yourself by meeting someone new than a lot of times you will by just going through the same old motions with old family members or old acquaintances, because they already have a preconceived idea of who you are. You'll learn more about yourself by seeing how new people see you than you will by interacting with people that already know you. So have a wonderful weekend. Love you guys.